Welcome to my channel Official History of Coins Special Numismatic Exploration, where we turn our attention to the half dollar, a workhorse of American commerce that has for generations quietly facilitated countless transactions while simultaneously captivating the imaginations of collectors who know where to look. Let's get started the vast landscape of American numismatics, where 18th century rarities often command the spotlight. A more modern contender has carved out a surprisingly lucrative niche: the 1972 Kennedy half dollar. While millions of these coins were struck for circulation, a select few varieties and pristine examples have transcended their face value to become highly coveted trophies. The demand for these exceptional pieces is driven not by silver content, as they are composed of base metals, but by the hunt for specific, elusive errors and the relentless pursuit of perfection in grade. For the discerning collector, the 1972 half dollar offers a fascinating paradox. A common coin made extraordinary by the smallest of details, with values that can comfortably settle in the range of $1,250 for a sharply struck, high-grade proof, and ascend to over $4,000 for the most dramatic and well-preserved mint errors. The historical backdrop of the 1972 Kennedy half dollar is essential to understanding its place in the collection. By this time, the initial public mourning and subsequent hoarding of the 1964 silver issue had given way to a new reality. The Coinage Act of 1965 had already removed silver from the dime and quarter, and by 1971, the half dollar followed suit, its composition changing from 40% silver to a clad sandwich of copper-nickel outer layers bonded to a pure copper core. Minted in staggering numbers at the Philadelphia facility, over 153 million business strikes. The 1972 half dollar was intended solely for commerce, a workhorse coin for vending machines and bank tellers. The San Francisco Mint, now exclusively dedicated to producing proof coins for collectors, added another 3.26 million examples to the total, each with a mirrored finish intended not for pocket change, but for preservation in mint sets and albums. This was an era of transition, where the coin's purpose shifted from precious metal circulation to everyday transactional tool, a fact that makes the discovery of a high-grade survivor or a striking anomaly all the more remarkable. The coin's design, while consistent from its 1964 debut, carries a weight that continues to resonate with collectors. The obverse, masterfully sculpted by Gilroy Roberts, presents a left-facing profile of President John F. Kennedy, an image adapted from his presidential medal. The inscription Liberty arcs gracefully above, while In God We Trust flanks the portrait, with the date 1972 prominently displayed below Kennedy's truncation. On the reverse, Chief Engraver Frank Gasparo rendered the presidential seal, a powerful heraldic eagle grasping an olive branch and a bundle of 13 arrows, symbols of peace and military readiness, surrounded by a complete ring of 50 stars. The physical specifications are precise. It weighs 11.34 grams and measures 30.6 millimeters in diameter. In high-grade conditions, particularly on proof coins or uncirculated business strikes, the visual appeal is striking. The contrast between Roberts's deep, sculpted portrait and the mirrored fields of a proof creates a cameo effect that is highly prized, while a well-struck uncirculated example will exhibit full, unbroken luster and crisp detail in Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers. Rarity is the key that unlocks significant value for the 1972 half dollar, as the standard issues are anything but rare. The true value lies in two specific areas: exceptional condition and a major mint error. The Philadelphia business strike, with its mintage of over 153 million, is ubiquitous in circulated grades. However, the vast majority of these coins saw heavy use, making pristine, untouched examples surprisingly difficult to find. Coins graded MS66 or MS67 are considered conditional rarities, as the survival rate of pieces with full, original mint luster and no distracting contact marks is exceptionally low. More dramatically, the 1972 P-doubled die obverse, FS 101, variety stands as the undisputed king of the date. This dramatic error, visible to the naked eye, shows a clear doubling in the inscription's Liberty and In God We Trust, creating a ghost-like, overlapping image. The mintage for this specific error is unknown, but its scarcity is well documented, making it the most valuable and sought-after regular-issue Kennedy half dollar of the entire decade. The market value for these exceptional 1972 half dollars reflects their scarcity and desirability, fitting comfortably within the specified range. A collector can expect to pay between $1,250 and $2,000 for a premium quality 1972 S-proof coin that has earned the cameo or deep cameo designation from grading services, indicating stark contrast between the frosted devices and mirrored fields. This premium reflects the difficulty of finding early clad proofs with such pristine, high-contrast surfaces. For the uncirculated Philadelphia issue, a standard coin is worth face value, but a superb gem example graded MS-67 can command prices between $1,500 and $3,000. The true pinnacle of value, however, is the 1972 P-double die obverse. Depending on its condition and the strength of the doubling, a certified example in about uncirculated to low mint state grades can realistically trade between $2,500 and $5,500, with the finest known specimens potentially exceeding the upper end of this range. The value is driven by its status as a major error, its historical significance as a modern rarity, and its appeal to typeset collectors who need this one challenging piece to complete a collection of Kennedy half-dollar varieties. For the collector aspiring to acquire one of these valuable pieces, strategy and knowledge are paramount. Given the price points involved, third-party certification by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC is non-negotiable. Their encapsulated holders provide not only protection but, more importantly, an unquestionable guarantee of authenticity and grade, which is essential for liquidity and resale. When seeking a double die obverse, one must consult the FS 101 attribution to ensure the coin is the recognized and collectible variety, as not all doubling is created equal. Purchasing from established dealers who specialize in modern varieties or through major auction houses with robust online platforms is the safest route. These venues often provide high-resolution images that allow for a thorough inspection of the coin's eye appeal and the strength of its features. Once acquired, the coin should be stored in a cool, dry environment, away from pollutants and handling, preferably within the grading service's holder to preserve its condition for future generations. In conclusion, the 1972 Kennedy half-dollar stands as a compelling testament to the idea that value in numismatics is not solely a function of age or precious metal content. It is a story of historical continuity, artistic merit, and the thrill of the hunt for the anomalous. From the starkly beautiful deep cameo proofs of San Francisco to the rugged, high-grade uncirculated gems from Philadelphia and the legendary double die obverse, this issue offers a rich vein of collecting opportunities. For the new collector, it represents an accessible entry point into the world of conditional rarities and error coins. For the seasoned veteran, the pursuit of a perfect MS-67 business strike or a pristine double die offers a challenging and rewarding goal. As the decades pass and the ranks of those who remember the Kennedy era swell among the collecting community, the appreciation for these coins, both aesthetic and financial, seems poised to continue its steady ascent, solidifying their place as modern classics in the American series. Next coin in the nuanced world of modern numismatics, where true scarcity is often a matter of degree rather than outright non-existence. The 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar presents a fascinating and compelling case study. While not a rare coin in the traditional sense, with over 83 million examples struck at the Denver Mint, its significance has grown exponentially among collectors who appreciate the concept of conditional rarity. The pursuit of this particular issue is driven by the relentless search for the finest known survivors, coins that exist in a state of perfection far removed from the pocket-worn specimens that once jingled in the change of the early 1970s. Its appeal lies not in a dramatic error or low mintage, but in the challenge of acquiring a flawless gem from a sea of commonality, with values that, for the absolute pinnacle of condition, can confidently reach between $4,500 and $5,800. Struck at the Denver Mint in 1973, this half-dollar arrived during a period of profound transition for American coinage. The national mourning that had followed President Kennedy's assassination a decade earlier had subsided, and the half-dollar was finding its uneasy place in commerce. The Coinage Act of 1965 had already stripped the coin of its silver, leaving it a clad sandwich of copper-nickel, a composition many citizens viewed with suspicion. The Denver Mint's production of 83,171,400 coins was a massive number intended to facilitate trade, yet a cultural shift was underway. Americans, having saved the 1964 silver issues, were now conditioned to hoard half-dollars, believing them to be special. This paradox of high mintage and low circulation meant that while the 1973 D is abundant in lower grades, pristine, untouched examples that escape the wear of commerce are far scarcer than the mintage figure suggests, making it a key date for the modern registry set collector. The design of the 1973 D Kennedy half-dollar is a masterclass in mid-century American iconography, unchanged from its 1964 debut. The obverse, the work of Gilroy Roberts, captures a timeless, stoic portrait of President Kennedy, with liberty arching overhead and the national motto, "In God We Trust," flanking the bust. The Denver D mint mark, small but significant, rests just below Kennedy's neck truncation, a tiny mark of origin that authenticates its journey from the Colorado facility. On the reverse, Frank Gasparo rendered the presidential seal in sharp relief, a heraldic eagle clasping both the olive branch of peace and the arrows of military readiness, encircled by a full complement of 50 stars. In its highest states of preservation, this common-clad coin transforms. The fields erupt in a vibrant cartwheel luster, and the devices stand in sharp, frosty contrast, revealing intricate details in Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers that are lost on lesser specimens. Rarity for the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar is an exercise in population reports and survival estimates. While PCGS estimates that over 16 million examples survive in all grades, the numbers drop precipitously as the condition escalates. The estimated survival for coins in MS-65 or better is just over 330,000, which sounds substantial until one considers the demand from thousands of dedicated registry set owners. The true apex of rarity begins at MS-67, where PCGS estimates the population plummets to just a handful of coins. NGC's census data reinforces this, showing that out of nearly 900 graded examples, only 3 have ever achieved the hallowed grade of MS-68, with none higher. It is this extreme top-end exclusivity, the knowledge that only a microscopic fraction of the original mintage can compete for the title of finest known, that ignites fierce competition among collectors. The market value of the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar is a direct reflection of this conditional rarity, climbing steeply as one ascends the grading scale. A typical uncirculated example in MS-63 or MS-64 can be acquired for a modest sum, often well under $50, representing an accessible entry point. The value begins its serious ascent at MS-66, where coins with exceptional eye appeal can trade in the low hundreds. The threshold into four-figure territory is crossed at MS-67, where prices from major auction houses like Heritage have been documented at over $11,000 for a single specimen, though more typical examples might trade in the lower thousands depending on their precise visual characteristics. This dramatic price escalation underscores the core principle of modern coin collecting. When millions are available, only the absolute best command a premium, with the price range of $4,500 to $5,800 reserved for the condition census leaders that represent the pinnacle of what the Denver Mint could produce. For the collector with ambitions of securing a top-tier 1973 D, the path is one of patience, discernment, and a reliance on professional expertise. Given the significant investment required for a high-grade example, third-party certification by PCGS or NGC is absolutely essential. Their holders provide a tamper-evident seal and a universally recognized grade, which is the bedrock of liquidity and value in the modern market. When evaluating a candidate for purchase, one must look beyond the numeric grade to the coin's eye appeal. The quality of its luster, the absence of distracting contact marks or hairlines, and the overall crispness of its strike. The most reliable sources for such coins are major auction houses with specialized numismatic sales and well-established dealers who focus on modern varieties and high-grade registry material, as they often have access to the finest known examples and the expertise to properly represent them. In summary, the 1973 D. Kennedy half-dollar encapsulates a unique and rewarding facet of numismatics. It is a coin that tells the story of a nation moving beyond an era of tragedy and into a decade of economic change, all while keeping the memory of a beloved president alive on its currency. Its value is not found in ancient history or precious metal content, but in the modern pursuit of perfection. For the experienced collector, it represents a challenging target for a high-level registry set, a test of one's ability to discern the truly exceptional from the merely average. For the newcomer, it offers a clear lesson in how condition, above all else, can dictate worth. As the ranks of those building comprehensive sets of modern coinage continue to grow, the competition for the finest 1973 D-halves will only intensify, promising that these tiny, lustrous gems from Denver will remain highly sought after for generations to come. Second coin, the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar, occupies a fascinating and often misunderstood niche. While millions of these coins exist in a state of well-circulated ordinariness, a select stratum has ascended to heights of value that surprise even seasoned collectors. The pursuit of these pieces is driven by a compelling combination of factors: the hunt for a significant and visually striking double-die variety, the quest for pristine, high-grade examples that defy their intended fate as pocket change, and the timeless appeal of acquiring a perfectly preserved proof with stark cameo contrast. For the dedicated enthusiast, the 1974 half-dollar offers a challenging and rewarding quarry, with values that can comfortably settle in the range of $1,350 for a superlative proof, and ascend to over $5,000 for the most coveted and conditionally rare business strikes. The year 1974 was a period of transition and preparation at the United States Mints. The Denver facility, which struck over $79 million half-dollars that year, was itself amidst logistical upheaval, with plans underway to relocate its operations, a process complicated by last-minute lobbying from railroad companies. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Mint was gearing up for the monumental bicentennial coinage redesign set for 1975 and 1976, making the 1974 issues some of the last of the original design type before the temporary reverse change. The San Francisco Mint continued its role as the sole producer of proof coinage, striking over 2.6 million examples for collectors. This historical moment, a quiet before the storm of national celebration, imbues the 1974 half-dollar with a sense of being the final, pure expression of the series' first decade, unaltered by the commemorative spirit that would soon follow. The coin's design, a constant since 1964, carries the dignified weight of its origins. Gilroy Roberts's obverse portrait of John F. Kennedy, adapted from his presidential medal, is a study in solemn respect, with liberty arching above and the date below, separated by the national motto. On the reverse, Frank Gasparo's heraldic eagle, drawn from the presidential seal, clutches arrows and an olive branch, a classic symbol of America's dual readiness for peace and conflict. The composition is a clad sandwich of copper-nickel outer layers bonded to a pure copper core, giving the coin a weight of 11.34 grams and a diameter of 30.6 millimeters. In its highest states of preservation, a 1974 half-dollar transcends its utilitarian origins. A business strike coin graded MS67 or above displays a vibrant, unbroken luster that radiates from the fields, while a proof 70 deep cameo from San Francisco offers a breathtaking contrast of frosted, sculptural devices against a mirror-like, black glass background. The concept of rarity for the 1974 half-dollar is a tale of two distinct phenomena: the conditional and the varietal. The sheer mintage numbers, with over 201 million business strikes combined from Philadelphia and Denver, mean that circulated examples are essentially worthless beyond their face value. True rarity emerges in the upper echelons of the grading scale. A 1974 P or D half-dollar in MS67 condition is a conditional rarity, as the survival rate of coins with full, untouched mint luster and no distracting contact marks from their time in mint sets or bankrolls is exceptionally low. More dramatically, the 1974 D-double die obverse stands as the preeminent variety for the date. This dramatic error, with clear doubling in God We Trust, Liberty, and the date, is a tangible artifact of the minting process that commands serious attention. While not prohibitively rare in circulated grades, finding a high mint state example with the doubling sharp and the surfaces pristine is a significant challenge. The market value for these elite 1974 half-dollars reflects their scarcity and the fervor they generate among collectors. For the proof enthusiast, a 1974 S-Deep Cameo graded PR70 is the ultimate prize. While a PR69 is more common, the perfect PR70, with no visible flaws under magnification, is a condition rarity that can trade between $1,350 and $2,200. For the era variety collector, the 1974 D-double die obverse offers a wide spectrum. A circulated example might be found for under $100, but a certified example in MS64 or MS65, where the doubling is bold and the surface is attractive, can command prices from $450 to $1,000. The true pinnacle, however, is the 1974 D-double die in MS67 condition. Such pieces are exceptionally rare, and when they appear at auction, they can realize prices between $2,500 and $5,500, driven by their status as the highest-graded examples of a major variety. This upper end of the market is further validated by auction records for the standard 1974 P in high grade, which has sold for as much as $8,000, illustrating the immense premium placed on gem quality preservation. For the collector aiming to acquire one of these valuable pieces, a strategic and informed approach is essential. Third-party certification by PCGS or NGC is non-negotiable for any significant investment. Their holders provide guaranteed authenticity, an immutable grade, and protection from the elements. When searching for the 1974 D-double die, it is vital to consult attribution guides like Kanika to ensure the doubling matches the recognized and collectible variety, as not all die deterioration or strike doubling qualifies. Purchasing from established, reputable dealers who specialize in modern varieties or through major auction houses with strong online platforms is the safest course, as these venues offer high-resolution images and return policies. For the proof collector, seeking out examples with cameo or deep cameo designations is key to acquiring the most visually striking and desirable specimens. Once acquired, the coin should be stored in a stable, climate-controlled environment, preferably within its certified holder, to preserve its condition for the long term. In the final analysis, the 1974 Kennedy half-dollar stands as a compelling testament to the enduring allure of American numismatics. It is a coin that tells multiple stories: the end of an era before the bicentennial, the artistry of two of the mint's most celebrated engravers, and the sheer luck of preservation that allows a common piece to become a conditional rarity. From the perfect, mirrored surfaces of a PR70 San Francisco proof to the bold, error-riddled letters of a high-grade Denver double die, this issue offers a depth of collecting opportunities that belies its modern vintage. For the novice, it is an accessible entry into the world of varieties and high-grade collecting. For the seasoned veteran, the pursuit of a flawless MS67 business strike or a pristine example of the famed double die represents a challenging and rewarding goal. As the years pass and the ranks of collectors who appreciate these subtle distinctions continue to grow, the financial and historical significance of these exceptional 1974 half-dollars seems destined for a steady and well-deserved appreciation. Next coin, the specialized world of modern coin collecting, where condition is king and minor variations can create significant value. The 1992 D. Kennedy half-dollar presents a fascinating case study. While not inherently rare in the traditional sense, with a substantial mintage of over 17 million pieces from the Denver Mint, this issue has ascended to four-figure values under one specific condition: the pursuit of the perfect, gem-quality specimen. Its appeal lies in the stark contrast between the millions of worn, common coins that saw circulation and the exceedingly small handful that were preserved in a state of pristine, untouched perfection. For the collector who seeks the challenge of assembling a high-grade set of modern issues, the 1992 D represents a pinnacle of difficulty, a common coin made extraordinarily uncommon by the simple passage of time and the relentless standards of the grading services. The historical context of the 1992 D half-dollar places it firmly in the era when the Kennedy half-dollar had all but vanished from everyday American commerce. By 1992, the initial public fervor that followed the 1964 assassination had long subsided, and the denomination was primarily produced for collectors in mint sets rather than for active circulation. The Denver Mint's production of over 17 million coins was a routine mintage for the period, intended to fulfill the demand for uncirculated mint sets sold by the United States Mint. These sets were packaged and sold to collectors, who often stored them away, inadvertently preserving a small percentage of the mintage in their original, untouched condition. This marks a pivotal shift in the coin's purpose. from a medium of exchange to a collectible commodity, a transition that is fundamental to understanding why a high-grade example is so valuable today. The design of the 1992 D remains faithful to the classic Kennedy motif, a powerful tribute to the slain president that has graced the half-dollar since 1964. The obverse, masterfully sculpted by Gilroy Roberts, features a left-facing portrait of President John F. Kennedy, with the inscriptions Liberty, arching above, and In God We Trust, delicately positioned to the side. The distinctive D mint mark, denoting its Denver origins, is located just below Kennedy's neck, above the date. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, showcases the presidential seal, a heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and a bundle of arrows, symbols of peace and military readiness, encircled by a complete ring of 50 stars. The coin is composed of a copper-nickel-clad outer layer bonded to a pure copper core, weighing 11.34 grams with a diameter of 30.6 millimeters. In the highest grades, such as MS-67 or MS-68, the coin's original mint luster remains vibrant and unbroken, creating a cartwheel effect of light that is breathtaking to behold and a key indicator of its exceptional preservation. The true rarity of the 1992 D half-dollar is not found in its mintage figures, but in the extreme condition required to achieve numismatic significance. The gray sheet and other pricing guides note that while no single issue of the Kennedy series is rare, any business strike piece grading better than MS-66 or MS-67 is widely considered a conditional rarity. With a mintage just over 17 million, the vast majority were handled, stored in rolls, or subjected to the minor abrasions of mint-set packaging, making pristine, high-grade survivors exceptionally scarce. Population reports from major grading services confirm this scarcity. While thousands are certified in MS-66, the numbers drop precipitously at the MS-67 level, and at the MS-68 grade. The coins are so rare that they appear at auction only once every few years, with population counts often in the single digits. This steep drop-off in availability as the grade increases is the primary driver of its value. The market value for a 1992 D. Kennedy half-dollar in exceptional condition fits securely within the specified range, climbing dramatically as the grade ascends. A standard uncirculated coin in MS-63 to MS-65 is readily available and typically valued between $1.50 and just over $8. However, at the MS-67 level, the price jumps significantly, with CPG values listing around $74, though auction records show that choice examples can sell for slightly more. The true leap into four-figure territory occurs at the MS-68 grade. Auction records confirm that a 1992 D-graded MS-68 has sold for $1,552, placing it comfortably at the lower end of the target range. For the finest known examples, approaching the theoretical MS-69 grade, of which none have been certified by PCGS or NGC as of the latest data, the value would be expected to exceed $4,000 or more, reflecting the immense challenge of finding a coin with no post-production imperfections after 3 decades. For the collector intent on acquiring a high-grade 1992 D, a strategy focused on certification and patience is paramount. Given that the value is entirely contingent on the precise grade, purchasing a coin already encapsulated by PCGS or NGC is non-negotiable. Their holders provide not only protection but a guaranteed third-party assessment of the coin's condition, which is essential for liquidity and accurate valuation. Collectors should focus on population reports, seeking out coins with low certified populations at the MS-67 and MS-68 levels, as these represent the greatest conditional rarities. Acquiring such a piece often requires monitoring major auction house archives, such as heritage auctions, where these rarities occasionally appear, or consulting with specialized modern coin dealers who understand the nuances of luster and strike that separate an MS-67 from an MS-68. Once acquired, the coin should be stored in its holder within a climate-controlled environment, away from sunlight and handling, to preserve its exceptional state for the future. In conclusion, the 1992 D. Kennedy half-dollar stands as a powerful testament to the principle that value in numismatics is not solely a function of age or mintage, but of condition. It is a story of how a coin produced by the tens of millions can, through the lens of high-grade collecting, become a significant and valuable rarity. Its historical position as a mint-set staple of the early 1990s, its classic and enduring design, and the extreme scarcity of its finest preserved examples all converge to create a compelling target. For the new collector, it offers an education in the importance of grading. For the seasoned specialist, the pursuit of an MS-68 or the hypothetical MS-69 represents one of the great challenges in the modern series. As the decades continue to pass and the number of surviving gems only diminishes, the appreciation for these flawless examples of the 1992 D is all but assured to continue its upward trajectory. Next, coin American numismatics, where silver issues and 19th century classics often dominate the conversation. The 1995 P. Kennedy half-dollar has quietly established itself as a compelling focal point for collectors who prize condition rarity and the thrill of the anomalous. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint to the tune of over 26 million pieces, this coin is anything but rare in the traditional sense, yet its journey into the upper echelons of value is a masterclass in how exceptional preservation and dramatic mint errors can redefine a coin's destiny. The market demand for this issue is not for the common, worn examples that might still turn up in pocket change, but for those pristine gem-quality specimens and those few pieces that survive the minting process with striking flaws that make them utterly unique. For the discerning collector, the 1995 P half-dollar offers a value proposition that can comfortably settle into a range beginning around $1,250 for a superb non-error example, and ascend to over $5,000 for the most dramatic and well-documented mint aberrations. The historical context of the 1995 P. Kennedy half-dollar places it firmly within the mature phase of the series, long after the initial emotional outpouring following President Kennedy's assassination had subsided. By 1995, the half-dollar had been a clad composition coin for nearly a quarter of a century, serving primarily as a vehicle for vending machines and a staple of commercial bank rolls, though its public circulation had already begun its slow decline. The Philadelphia Mint's production of 26,496,000 pieces that year was part of the ongoing, massive output required to sustain the nation's commerce. There were no grand historical events directly tied to its mintage. Rather, its significance lies in its very ordinariness. It was a workhorse coin from an era of economic stability and high minting precision, which makes the existence of high-grade survivors and, conversely, significant mint errors all the more fascinating. This was a period when the mint's technology was advanced and quality control was ostensibly tight, ensuring that any coin that slipped through with a defect was a true rarity from the outset. The design of the 1995 P half-dollar remains one of the most recognized and revered in American coinage, a timeless tribute to a fallen leader. The obverse, masterfully sculpted by Gilroy Roberts, presents a left-profile portrait of President John F. Kennedy, an image adapted from his presidential medal, with liberty arching above and In God We Trust delicately flanking the portrait. The reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, features the powerful presidential seal, a heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and a bundle of 13 arrows, symbolizing peace and military readiness, encircled by a complete ring of 50 stars. In terms of physical specification, the coin is composed of a pure copper core clad with outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it a weight of 11.34 grams and a diameter of 30.6 millimeters. In high-grade uncirculated conditions such as MS-67 or higher, this coin transforms from a utilitarian piece into a miniature work of art, with blazing, unbroken mint luster and razor-sharp definition in Kennedy's hair and the eagle's feathers. Rarity for the 1995 P half-dollar is defined not by low mintage, but by the steep and unforgiving gradient of condition. While the mintage of over 26 million renders the coin exceedingly common in circulated grades, the survival of pristine, untouched examples is a different story entirely. As numismatic expert Jamie Hernandez notes, the coin is very common up to MS-65, becomes much more difficult in MS-66, and in MS-67 condition, it is very scarce. The true frontier of conditional rarity begins at MS-68, where fewer than a few dozen examples are known to exist across all grading services, making it one of the most challenging modern half-dollars to acquire in the highest tiers. This scarcity is the primary driver of value for standard business strikes. Beyond this, the realm of mint errors introduces another layer of profound rarity. Auction records reveal spectacular errors, such as the 1995 P struck on a 5-cent planchet, or dramatic double strikes and broad strikes, each representing a one-of-a-kind minting anomaly with survival estimates often in the single digits. The market value for these exceptional 1995 P half dollars reflects their dual nature of conditional and error-driven scarcity, with realistic pricing fitting comfortably within the specified range. A collector should expect to pay between $1,250 and $1,600 for a pristine, certified MS-68 example, a price point justified by the fact that only a handful of specimens have achieved this exalted grade. This value represents the pinnacle of quality for a standard issue coin, driven by its extreme conditional rarity. However, the most significant valuations are reserved for dramatic mint errors. For instance, a 1995 P. Kennedy half-dollar struck on a nickel planchet, weighing only 5 grams, sold at auction for $4,320, a price reflecting both its extreme scarcity and the compelling story of its creation. Similarly, spectacular errors such as a double-struck broad strike or a coin struck on a quarter blank have realized prices between $1,300 and $1,680, proving that the market places a substantial premium on these unique minting mistakes. The value is driven by their status as tangible anomalies, their historical significance within the minting process, and their immense appeal to collectors who seek the unexpected. For the collector aiming to acquire a valuable 1995 P half dollar, a strategic approach centered on certification and provenance is non-negotiable. Given the price points involved, third-party grading by PCGS or NGC is essential, as their encapsulated holders provide both protection and an indisputable guarantee of authenticity and grade, which is crucial for liquidity. When pursuing a high-grade business strike, collectors should focus on coins with the finest known or condition census pedigree, as the population at the MS-68 level is so minuscule that provenance enhances long-term value. For error coins, the certification becomes even more critical, as it professionally attributes and authenticates the specific mint mistake, eliminating any doubt for future buyers. Purchasing from major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, or specialized error dealers is the safest route, as these venues provide high-resolution imagery and detailed descriptions that allow for thorough inspection. Once acquired, the coin should be stored in a stable, climate-controlled environment, remaining within its protective holder to safeguard its condition for posterity. In conclusion, the 1995 P. Kennedy half-dollar stands as a compelling testament to the principle that value in numismatics is a function of condition and anomaly, not merely age or silver content. From the breathtaking conditional rarity of an MS-68 business strike, of which only a handful exist, to the spectacular mint errors like off-metal strikes and double strikes that sold for thousands, this issue offers a rich and diverse collecting frontier. For the new collector, it represents an accessible entry point into the world of modern rarities, while for the seasoned veteran, the pursuit of a top pop example or a unique error coin offers a deeply rewarding challenge. As the decades advance and the ranks of collectors who appreciate the Kennedy series continue to grow, the appreciation for these coins, both for their aesthetic perfection and their fascinating flaws, appears poised to continue its steady ascent, solidifying their place as modern classics within the American numismatic series.